I don't know what's wrong with me, but I've been colder than the Arctic tundra to start the first two games of the NFL season. Thursday we got it right, plus 8.5 to the Cowboys. I thought they'd win outright, so 0-2 for my first two picks. Thought the Chiefs would have had it Friday night in Brazil, but man, did the Chargers look good. They came out rolling. Herbert, 300 yards, three touchdowns, running for the first down to seal the game. The Chiefs stayed in it. It was an amazing game and a great start to week one. And with week one, let's go with some starts and sits. Welcome to the Big Z Breakdown. This is going to be an awesome episode because I got some graphics. We're going to go through pretty much every single position: quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, guys I like, guys I don't like, guys you should start. And take these picks with a little bit of clarity, considering the fact that I've been colder than, dirt under just a tree. I don't know what you want metaphorically. I can't really think today. But I can think of some games. And maybe it's just because it's week one that I'm losing my mind a little bit. But first thing we're going to do is start off with three games that I'm liking a lot matchup-wise, and pretty much three high-scoring games, and then three games that I'm a little bit subject to question on, in terms of I don't think they're going to be very good high-scoring games and not good for fantasy purposes. So, again, awesome first two games to start the season, but fantasy is a little different than picking games and a little bit of different than betting on them. So this is fantasy football, something that we've been pretty profitable in terms of picking games week to week, picking players, I should say. So first, let's start with the Jaguars and the Panthers game. These are two of the worst defenses in the league last year. And my question is, how is Bryce Young going to be able to play? And we'll get to the quarterbacks in just a second because all the quarterbacks on this list should be starting. I'm a little questionable, again, on Michael Penix Jr., but Bucks, Falcons, again, two not very great defenses. But starting with one game at a time, Panthers, Jaguars, two of the worst passing defenses in the NFL last year. Two quarterbacks that can do pretty well against bad defenses. Bryce Young continuing his momentum into this season. Jaguars front seven is pretty solid, but their back nine is not. So that is where you get a little bit frustrated with the Jags defense at least. But looking at these three matchups, these are going to be the highest scoring games in my opinion. Bengals Browns could be arguably above the Panthers Jags. It's just a matter of how do we see everything shaping out. Joe Burrow out shooting Joe Flacco. I really do think that's going to be a good game. But mainly, you got your higher scoring games on the left, your lower scoring games on the right. Steelers Jets, that might be the ugliest game I've ever seen on television. We all know Aaron Rodgers doesn't play in the preseason. He signed in June with the team, and Garrett Wilson, Justin Fields, they didn't look on the same path in preseason. And I mean, these are two really good defenses. I really wouldn't be surprised if this is a 13-10 final. I mean, seriously, this has been so underwhelming for the longest time. And honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. Lions-Packers, again, Lions just lost both their coordinators. These are games that I'm avoiding at all costs because it's just like, what are we expecting with these 4-6 teams, these three games that I have on the screen? So it's just a little questionable for me to want to even just go near those games. So it's it's a little bit funny to think of at the time being. But Lions, they got a lot to prove. Packers, again, Jordan Love coming off that wrist injury. I'm not 100% sure how this is going to go. And that's just where my head's at. Realistically, there are so many things that I love from all the games on the left rather than the games on the right. And we'll just put it that way. As far as positions go, as I set this up here, we had a lot of great starts. I mean, there are so many starts. I just really don't know who to sit, really. And it's been such a challenge because there are so many great players. And looking at this right here we'll start with the quarterbacks. There's a lot of good quarterbacks this week. I really wouldn't say there's any top tier quarterbacks that you have to sit this week. Jaden Daniels has a good matchup against the Giants. Joe Burrow's got a great matchup against the Browns. Baker Mayfield's got a great matchup against the Falcons. Kyler Murray's got a great matchup against the Saints. But these are five quarterbacks that you could probably start off of your bench that I think could get anywhere from 17 to 25 fantasy points. And we'll start with Bryce Young. Bryce Young is the number one start for quarterbacks. I wouldn't even mind Joe Flacco, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, even if you're looking at DraftKings and DFS plays for this week, those are guys that you want to streamline. But honestly, I would start Joe Flacco. Here's the thing. I was sitting Justin Herbert last night personally because I thought the Chargers would have a different game script. I thought they'd come out running the football, and the Chiefs defense did too. But they threw it so many times, and I was just like, is this a Jim Harbaugh offense, or is this a new and improved Justin Herbert? So it was definitely interesting to see. So again, we don't know what's going to happen first week of the season. Bryce Young could play like he did last year, week one, and just look terrible. But I really do believe in this team. T-Mac is another guy. Their first round pick is going to have an awesome week. Joe Flacco, the Bengals defense hasn't proven anything to me, especially in preseason when they played their starters. It didn't look good. So I'm going to assume that they're going to take a couple weeks to get a little bit of situated on defense, and it's going to be a high-scoring game on the Browns. Love Joe Flacco. I know he's probably a free agent in most people's leagues, and if you're starting, your top guys, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. Obviously, Mahomes had a great game last night, but there's so many great quarterbacks. It's like Jaden Daniels has a good matchup. Bo Nix has a good matchup. CJ Stroud I was considering putting on this list, but with no Christian Kirk, no Braxton Berrios, I'm a little bit hesitant to do so. Bryce Young, Joe Flacco, Trevor Lawrence. Brock Purdy's an interesting one too. The last two, 4 and 5. Purdy is going against Seahawks. Seahawks secondary, I don't trust their defense, to be quite honest. And you might be a little questionable to play Purdy considering McCaffrey might not play. Kittle is the only real target. Pearsall, Juwan Jennings is banged up. I really think that he can just outshoot this team and realistically just pass the ball, pass. Seahawks defense is not great. I know the Niners are kind of a run-heavy offense, but Pearsall is another guy I have starting on this list, and he's going to do really well. Tua, just a great matchup against the Colts. I love that for him. He's not the greatest quarterback, but he can make good decisions against the Colts. The Colts are not a good defense. Their secondary has never really been the greatest. Shane Steichen is an offensive mind. I mean, there's really nothing to like for me on the Colts. Run game for the Dolphins should be well, too. So I wouldn't even mind playing Ollie Gordon as a sneaky start. The sits, those are where I'm a little bit questionable on them. Jared Goff, first game of the season in a new offensive system. That's where I'm questioning his ability. I'm not really questioning his ability. I'm just questioning how is that offense going to look? Because if it's going to be run heavy, Goff's not going to do well. But I'm expecting a lower scoring game. Like I said, the Packers-Lions game was one of my kind of lower end games that I was like, I don't really know how to feel about any of these teams. So looking at it, that's not a game I like. Jordan Love is the quarterback on the other side of the field for the Packers. And again, he's coming off like wrist, like not a surgery, but just a procedure that was done. And he was kept out of practice, kept out of all of preseason. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, why are they done with Love? I think Love's going to be great this year. He's one of my top 5 quarterbacks, but week 1 with a rookie wide receiver 1, I think it's going to take time to get up to speed. And Josh Jacobs and David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs are all going to have field days, in my personal opinion. So it's going to be a lot to look forward to, but there's a lot of things to kind of amplify here in terms of what we're looking at for quarterback. And then Justin Fields is another weird one. I think Fields is just not ready. I mean, the only thing he was drafted top 10 as a quarterback, and I was just so questionable on that. Fields has the ability to be awesome with his rushing ability. The problem is I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to do what he's asked on the Jets. So love Fields, but honestly, I think that Steelers defense is going to give him trouble. I think if he gets any points, it's going to be rushing touchdown, but nothing more than that. He's not going to throw for a touchdown. He might rush for 40 yards, but I just don't think he's a guy you could start over guys like CJ Stroud, Bo Nix. I mean, and if you draft him as a starter, I would consider playing CJ Stroud. I would consider playing any of the guys that I just kind of mentioned with Brock Purdy, the other starts that we kind of just listed. But there's so many great starting quarterbacks. Joe Flacco even I would start over Justin Fields. I don't trust Justin Fields this year, and I think I've said enough on quarterback. Let's move on to running back. Moving on to the running back position. You got a lot of them. There's a lot of great starts that are just going against bad defenses. Again, you don't know what to expect with these bad defenses week 1, but based off what we've seen last year, there's not really a lot of change going around in terms of what they've done to change it and make the offensive line better. So there's definitely a lot of questions as to how can this team be better when they had a terrible defense last year, right? I mean, the likelihood of being a 32 ranked defense 2 years in a row, I mean, it's not very likely, but to my point, R.J. Harvey going against the Titans. The Titans weren't a bad defense last year. They were number 2 in total yards a game, but realistically, the Titans defense doesn't stand out to me on paper. You got Brian Callahan, an offensive mind, coaching Cam Ward. RJ, the Broncos, great team. Bo Nix, I would start Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, RJ Harvey. Evan Ingram, I'm a little iffy on because it's his first game with the team. Is he going to be in stride with Nix? Are they going to have chemistry? But looking at Harvey, I know J.K. Dobbins is there, but Harvey's probably going to get 15 to 20 carries on the ground with 1 or 2 touchdowns in this game because the Broncos are going to be up in this game against the Titans. They're going to be killing them. So it's a matter of how can you make it work. And Harvey's going to have, I think he could have 2 touchdowns. James Conner, pretty self-explanatory, but he's playing the Saints. Saints, 32nd ranked rush defense in the league. 31st. 141 yards a game on the ground to teams that are rushing. So not good. James Conner, he's healthy now. I don't know if he can stay the full season because he has had a history of injury in the past. Trey Benson is apparently going to get more role in the offense, so that could be a little bit of question. But week 1, I think he's going to get the workload. Then you got Nick Chubb. These are kind of tiers like 1A, 1B, RJ Harvey, James Conner. Then you got the second tier that I'm like a little more confident in, and then you got your kind of like sleepers that are kind of big names or little names, and those guys are going to do really well. But the middle kind of tier right here, Nick Chubb. I don't know why he was being drafted so late in drafts, but this is a similar Javonte Williams play where he's the starter. There's really no other competition. Dameon Pierce, as a Texans fan, literally in the background, I really do believe Nick Chubb is going to eat. And I don't know why everyone's like, yeah, Nick Chubb, he's washed, he's this, he's that. He is very well not himself. He's definitely had these injuries have slowed him down. He's not, 2020 Nick Chubb or when was he drafted? I mean, Nick Chubb's a great running back. Now, he's literally my comparison for this year, Todd Gurley on the Falcons. Todd Gurley wasn't anything crazy running the ball, but he still had 4.5 yards a carry, double-digit touchdowns. That's what Chubb's going to be, especially with mixing out. So Chubb's going to have about 12, 15 carries in this game. The Rams' rush defense, it's not bad. You have a decent amount of guys on that line, but I really think it comes down to on the goal line for the Texans, what do you do? Do you give it to Nico Collins? Maybe. I think Chubb could get 1, maybe 2 touchdowns this week, and he's a very safe plug-and-play if you're unsure with any of your running backs. Like on the right side of the sit list, if you're questionable on Breece Hall, Tony Pollard, any of the guys that you're like, the RB2, go try and get Nick Chubb, or if you have him on your depth, go ahead and start him. I am very confident in Nick Chubb to put up numbers. Now, I don't know why I put him ahead of Genty, but I didn't really mean to. But Ashton Genty, I think, could be RB1 this week. That's kind of why he's on the list. Obviously, it's a no-brainer to start him, but mainly my thing is with Ashton Genty playing the Patriots, yes, Mike Vrabel's probably going to stop the run. But I think Genty gets maybe 1, 2 rushing touchdowns, and he's going to have receiving work. That guy's going to play 70, 80% of snaps. There's nobody else there to do anything. Raheem Mostert, guy's, 30? He is a dinosaur. There's no need to think that Mostert's going to take any of the carries from Genty. He is the man. Tyrone Tracy on the bottom. But pretty much the fact that the Commanders' run defense was not good last year. Ranked third to last. 137 rushing yards a game. Tracy is the back. Cam Scadaboo's kind of like the backup. He really didn't get a lot of reps in preseason. Obviously, as the season progresses, he's going to get a lot of work. But first week, Tyrone Tracy, he's going to be the bell cow. And I know the Giants' offense isn't very good, but Malik Neighbors is going to have a good day. This is probably going to be a higher-scoring game. Commanders have a good offense. The Giants have a decent defense, and the Commanders don't have a defense. So that's kind of where I'm looking at Tracy and thinking that offense can do something. As far as the sits, I don't think Kyren Williams is going to have a good game. I know everyone's probably like, what the heck is Kyren Williams doing on the sit list? The Texans have a good defense. And honestly, that could be another game where it's like a 16-10. Week 1, Stafford dealing with an injury. Yes, they'll probably keep it on the ground. I've heard rumors that, hey, this is a team that's going to do 2 backs. So it's definitely interesting to see if Kyron's going to have the workload. I think he gets maybe 14 carries, 65 yards, maybe a touchdown. But he's not going to be a guy to get you, 15 to 20 fantasy points a week. Considering he doesn't catch the ball out of the backfield often. So I'm saying max for Kyren, max, and I mean max, 14 to 15 points, where he gets 60 and a touch and maybe 2 catches for 10 yards. Excuse me. But realistically, I don't think Kyren's going to be that guy. And it's frustrating for me because I had him last year, but I just think his ceiling is capped off because of his receiving upside is so limited. And he's kind of a guy like Derrick Henry. If he doesn't have like 1,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, his value gets kind of decreased. Tony Pollard, pretty much a no-brainer. But the Broncos defense last year, 3rd rushing. They were really good. And not only mention that, but the fact is, the only thing he can really do is rush for a touchdown at the beginning of the game. Because Pollard is, unless he's used in the receiving game like a ton and Cam Ward just checks it down 100 times, he is not going to be involved in the run game. They're going to have to abandon the run game early in that game. Breece Hall, again, I don't have any Jets. I think I'm sitting every single Jet that I drafted. The Steelers are going to shut them down. And I don't know how the Jets offense is going to look, but it can't look much worse than it did last year. I mean, I'm sorry, much better, because Rodgers, that offense looked okay. This year, new quarterback who's not somebody who's been a starter in the past. Breece Hall is trying to prove himself. Apparently, it's going to be a run-first offense. I mean, the Steelers are a really good run defense. I don't know. Just don't expect anything from Breece Hall. Jonathan Taylor, this is a weird one because obviously he's your first-round pick. JT, nobody's probably sitting him. However, looking at that Colts-Dolphins game, the Dolphins have a good defense. And again, if the Dolphins go ahead and get rolling, I know the Colts are favored, but if the Dolphins get rolling early, it's not going to look good for JT. They're going to have to throw, and they're going to have to throw if they're down by 2 touchdowns. If they want to be competitive with Daniel Jones, I think Tyler Warren's going to have a much bigger role than Jonathan Taylor. And DJ Giddens, don't forget, they drafted him out of Kansas State. I mean, it's a good running back, could be a third down guy. Reminds me of Naheem Hines. Hines Miller, he changed his name, but yeah, I'm not big on Jonathan Taylor this week, and maybe he gets a big touchdown, proves me wrong. I'm not telling you to sit him. Obviously, he's on my sit list, but this is my sit list. So, make the decision on if you want to, you listen to this input and say, hey, maybe it'd be a good idea to sit Kyron or Jonathan Taylor, considering, if you don't have any other options. If you have Chubb or RJ Harvey or Tyron Tracy on your bench, maybe it's worth considering starting one of those guys over one of your top draft picks, because sometimes you got to make those difficult decisions on who do you want to draft. All right, enough of running backs. Let's move on to the wide receiver position. There's a lot of guys to start this week. Here's the thing. Wide receiver is such a depth position. I mean, a lot of guys that I have on my start list, you could have gotten as guys on your bench, or maybe guys as your flex this week. Emeka Egbuka, one of my favorite picks. I mean, just going to be amazing for Baker Mayfield in that offense. No, Cade Otton is hurt. Jalen McMillan is hurt. Chris Godwin is hurt. I mean, everybody's hurt. Mike Evans is your go-to guy, but AJ Terrell will be on him. Maybe Egbuka can open up the middle of the field. I mean, there's a lot to love from that Buccaneers offense. I don't know why I started with Egbuka first, but I really think McMillan is the number one wide receiver this week. He was named as the number one guy. I was a little bit concerned with that hamstring, considering he had some problems at Arizona, but I will say, just talking for 20 minutes here, trying to get this in 20 minutes, but obviously it's going to go a little over. Let me know what you guys think about this idea for the future. Just trying to change it up. Anyway, McMillan. Ted McMillan is going to be Bryce Young's go-to guy. No Jalen Coker. The run game is good. Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle. I'm not doubting it. But McMillan, outside of him, you got Leggett, you traded Adam Thielen, you got David Moore in the slot, I think, and it's just like, who is going to catch the ball like a number one wide receiver on an actual team? Because last year he didn't really have a number one guy. It was kind of Adam Thielen. They had some guys, but realistically there was no number one. That's why they drafted this guy at Arizona. He is a monster. And if anyone saw the catch in preseason, that's what they expect from him this season. I mean, he creates separation. He's got he's got length. He's got hands. He might not be the best speed-wise or route runner, but that's not what he needs to be. Literally reminds me of Mike Evans 2.0, and I wouldn't be surprised if he had a 2-touchdown week and was on top of the wide receivers with 30 points week 1. Love McMillan. He's going to have a day. Ricky Pearsall. We kind of talked about Egbuka already. Pearsall is a guy who I think could be the number one target for Brock Purdy. He's literally going to be the chain mover, literally going to be the yak guy over the middle, kind of like Debo in this offense, but not in the backfield as much. So they're going to use him on jet motions. They're going to use him, running routes over the middle. Pearsall's going to catch 7 for 70, be your 14-point, good PPR guy, and just get yak. I mean, that's what you want. This pretty much all the guys on this list, could be a Chris Godwin or, a good slot receiver over the middle, or somebody that catches like 8 passes and gets yards after catch. Another guy, Deebo Samuel. I mean, he is going to be Jaden Daniels' go-to guy. Terry McLaurin has been practicing, and I'm sure Terry will get some targets. But in this Giants offense, do you double Terry? Do you leave Deebo Samuel one-on-one? I mean, Deebo Samuel, they didn't get him for no reason. They're going to use him over the middle as well. But the thing that I'm kind of thinking about is, hey, what was the role in this offense of the number 2 last year? I need a drink of water. But Debo Samuel's going to be that guy. He's going to be awesome for Jaden Daniels. And honestly, he's going to be the go-to guy in the deep part of the field. I mean, you had that last year. It's just like you didn't have somebody who could do it consistently. And Debo can be a guy where you're just saying, hey, if we want to take a shot, we'll go Debo in the slot, have him do a little seam down the middle of the field. So I love that for the Washington Commanders, and I think he really is going to be a top 20, maybe a top 30 wide receiver this year, and could be a very good play off the bench. And finally, probably the guy with the most upside, Travis Hunter against the Panthers. If Brian Thomas is on J.C. Horn, he's probably going to get double teamed. I mean, you would think if the Panthers are going to be like, hey, we don't want Brian Thomas, prove us with the rookie, Travis Hunter could get that deep play guy. You know, Christian Kirk wasn't a nobody in this offense before he got hurt. He can literally be that. And I know Parker Washington's kind of the slot guy, but if Travis Hunter is going to be the number 2, he's a good route runner. He can create separation. We've seen how he can catch the football. He's not going to play cornerback as much as we thought. He's probably going to be a backup, so maybe he might get like 2-3 snaps a drive, if that. I mean, I don't think he's going to be out there all that much. I mean, he's probably going to play, but my point is he's going to be a wide receiver, and I didn't think that at first, but this is a guy who could probably be a reliable week 1 start. And I didn't think about it because you have Debo. I think Abuka was ranked behind Hunter. I was like, why is Matthew Golden, and he's on my sit list, we'll get to that in a second, but why is all these guys lower than Travis Hunter? And I was just questionable. I didn't want to take a risk on him being my first bench spot, but that was kind of Brian Thomas last year. And I'm not saying Travis Hunter is going to be Brian Thomas this year, but he could be a decent number 2. And honestly, him and Trevor Lawrence, that commercial that they made, they look like a dynamic duo. And I'm just expecting that this team could be really good this year with Liam Cohen. On to the sits. Garrett Wilson again. The Jets are not going to do anything crazy against the Steelers. I don't trust that game. I'm staying away from it. I don't want any part of it. I don't want to start Rodgers. I don't want to start DK. I don't want Garrett, Brees, Justin. Nobody. I don't want anybody. DK Metcalf, literally the second option. No. I just, if you want, no, don't start. I can't deal with it. I don't know what that offense is going to look like. Aaron Rodgers, run first offense. Who's going to get the ball? I know DK is the only option, but it's realistically a matter of first game jitters, new offense, getting up to speed. I know Rodgers is great. I know DK is going to do something special this year, but looking at this team, week 1, I don't know. I got a weird feeling. Calvin Ridley, pretty easy, safe one, but Patrick Surtain is on the He's on the Broncos. He's pretty good at his job. I'm pretty sure he's probably one of the best, probably if not the best corner in the league. But yeah, he's pretty good. So with a rookie quarterback, Cam Ward, he might try and pepper him the ball, but he also might throw a pick in the process of doing that because Surtain is really good. And I love Ridley this year. He's going to have a great year, but maybe after week 1 when he has like 1 catch for 6 yards, go after Ridley. I don't think it's a bad idea to buy low on Ridley after week 1 when he busts against Surtain. However, that makes me think that the offense might use Tyler Lockett a little bit more, so maybe it's a Ward to Lockett week, but we'll see. Matthew Golden, my main concern is they have not been practicing. Love has not been on the same page with Golden because Love's been out with a hand injury, so I think it's going to be a little bit of time to get that chemistry. I just don't think week 1 they're going to be in sync. Maybe he might have 10 points, but again, not enough for me to be confident enough to say, hey, I'm starting Matthew Golden like I am Emeka Egbuka. And then last sit, again, we're kind of going in best to least order of most confident to least confident. So JSN is kind of one where I'm weird on, where it's like it's a weird game. Yes, the Seahawks are going to be down. Yes, they're going to have to pass. Yes, he's the number 1 wide receiver in that offense, but there's a real inner voice telling me, hey, Sam Darnold sucks. Yes, he had a great year on the Vikings, but one good year in a QB system that doesn't prove anything to me. So I know, the coach in Seattle, Mike McDonald, I'm pretty sure is his name. I hope I'm saying that right. Somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But they have a good system to where they got their balls to guy in stride. But JSN had a weird problem last year to where he was inconsistent. He would have one game where he had 13 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown, and then the next game he'd have 3 catches, 20 yards, and you're like, what the heck is wrong with JSN? So that's kind of the thing here is I don't know if I'm willing to start him week 1 with a new quarterback and a new system against a good defense in the Niners to where they might be down in the game, but is JSN going to be good? Sam Darnold's go-to guy? We don't know yet. So to draft him top 12, I understand if you don't want to not, you probably want to play him instead of sit him. But realistically, I'm like this on Golden and JSN. So that's what I got for wide receiver. Last 5 minutes, moving on the tight end. This is kind of just going through the guys that I love for this week and the matchups that I love. We're also doing DFS videos if you want to check it out tomorrow. But let's get through the tight ends first. With the starts, Tyler Warren. I mean, that guy's going to be incredible week 1. I really think he's the go-to target. One of my favorite tight ends to draft. I'm confident he's going to finish top 3, top 5 as a tight end this year. Really, week 1, he could go off. But if he doesn't go off, somebody who might, David Njoku. I don't know if anybody's seen the videos with the off-the-field chemistry. David Njoku loves Joe Flacco, and their relationship is just like this. And they really are just not only a great friendship, but they are a good dynamic duo. And Flacco can get him the ball. And the reason I love Flacco and the Browns offense so much is because Flacco was 4-1 in the system the last time he was here. And then the Browns did the worst thing ever and decided, hey, we're going to move on with Deshaun Watson. And then he went to the Colts, didn't have the best season, and now he's back in Cleveland. And honestly, could Joe Flacco off the couch like he did on the Browns a few years ago take this team to a winning record and a playoff push? I don't know, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. And week 1, playing the Bengals, who aren't a very good team, who led up one of the most points to tight ends last year. Mark Andrews as well. Isaiah Likely on the Ravens. That game was crazy. But David Njoku is a guy who's going to be productive week in and week out. And honestly, you see 2 tight ends for the sits. I really didn't know who's going to play good or bad. There's so many good options. I like the good options, but I'm really just like, and here's the problem. With 6 starts, there'll probably only be like 3 guys that actually hit and perform because that's how the tight end market is. You have a boom game, you have a bust game. But all these guys are, I think, liable starters. Tucker Kraft. I mean, realistically, he catches a touchdown week 1 because you're looking at Jordan Love. He doesn't have many go-to guys. Romeo Doubs is okay. Jaden Reed might not even play. Matthew Golden's a rookie. Do they have chemistry? Tucker Kraft's a guy who's been the guy in the red zone and pretty much Jordan Love's go-to guy, and he was hurt most of last season. So I think Kraft is the man, and he could do a lot. Bretton Strange, I think I start every Jaguar. Honestly, I don't even mind starting a few of their running backs. Tank Bigsby against the 32nd ranked rush defense last year. I know they did stuff to get better, but this is still a very bad defense. So 179 yards of carries. I know we're talking about tight ends, but man, Tank Bigsby could be good. Bretton Strange, I think he's going to be solid. 4 for 40, give you a solid 8 points, 10 points. A guy who's pretty much undrafted in a lot of leagues, who is going to be the guy this year if you want to go pick him up. But I like Bretton Strange. I don't know about what he does in this offense week 1, but I mean, he's still Trevor Lawrence's guy because he was on the team last year. And I mean, it's him and BTR. Those are the only 2 options he's had that were on the team last year. Travis Hunter's new. Parker Washington didn't really play that much last year. And then you also got somebody coming over from the Commanders, who I forget his name, but he's coming over. I don't know why, but it's Jahan Dotson in my head, but I know that's wrong. So somebody can help me out in the comments there. But Dalton Schultz. Schultz is the man for the Texans. And looking at this offense, Christian Kirk, hurt. Braxton Berrios, hurt. Dalton Schultz, Nico Collins, those are going to be the guys that catch the ball. And Schultz, I don't know if you heard, but he looked good in camp. And last year, there were rumors that he was hurt. So, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Schultz caught a touchdown. If you want to do a 3-leg parlay, Warren, Kraft, Schultz. Could be sneaky. Last guy there, I don't even know if anybody knows who that is, but that's Jatavion Sanders, the starting tight end for the Panthers. And I don't know. I thought it could be sneaky because Jalen Coker's out, Adam Thielen's gone, Leggett, I don't know if he has problems, just struggling in that game, I'm saying. And, who is Bryce Young going to throw the ball to? Kind of a prayer, kind of a last second, okay, go, put me in, coach, kind of thing. I don't think Sanders is going to do anything crazy, but I was thinking, I'm like, it could be a little sneaky. So I'm not expecting a big game from Sanders, but he's on here because I'm like, Sanders, Jatavion Sanders, it could be a little bit sneaky, you know what I'm saying? So again, I'm not expecting anything crazy, but it could be a guy where you're like, obviously I would start everybody, all the 4 or 5 guys that I mentioned over him, but again, I have to put like a no name on here, like a Joe Flacco, because I love doing that. Final 30 seconds, minute here, the 2 sits. I'm not a big fan of Evan Ingram and Cade Otton. Evan Ingram I like, don't get me wrong, but you also have Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins. There's a lot of mouths to feed in this offense, and maybe I'm wrong in this. And the Broncos score, 30 points, and Njoku and Ingram is the main guy, but I don't see it. Not week one, new system, new quarterback. Maybe he does something, but I'm just not sold. He's gonna do good the rest of the year though. Cade Otton, I'm pretty sure he's hurt, but again, you're not gonna play. Even if he does play, I think he's a game time decision, but he's listed as questionable. He's been hurt in the practice. I don't know if he even plays, but the point is, just don't start him because again, he's coming off an injury. But regardless, there's too many mouths to feed in that offense. So that is going to do it for the first week of Starts and Sits. It was very long, but this was the only really time I had to record all week with work. So I was like, you know what? Let me just sit down, go over every position. Hopefully it was enjoyable for you guys to watch. I know it was just kind of graphics on a screen, and I tried to go through the names as detailed but as quickly as possible. So let me know anything else you want to see in the comments, anything else I should do differently. But yeah, DFS plays will be on the way very soon, and we did our record predictions, we did our Thursday Night Football, and I'll probably do some betting picks consistently, but it's also a matter of I'm going to do that. Okay, so next 3 videos, it's going to be this video, Starts and Sits, DFS, betting plays for Sunday. So again, I have to sit down and actually make my thoughts for this week. I have an idea, but my point is it's in the queue. Anyway, enough rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching. This video has been long enough. Let me know you're new. Let me know if you're new. Let me know what to see down and below. And it's been Mike tonight, the Big Z Breakdown. Thanks for hanging out. Good luck week 1, and we'll see ya in the next video.